Guano day, guano day, guano day, guano danahi. Guanalia, guano danahi. Guanalia, guano danahi. Guanalia, guano day. Guanalia, guano day. Guanalia, guano da. Hey.
My name is Jacob Wawatie. I'm an Algonquin from Western Quebec. And my last name, Wawatie, means Northern Lights. Yeah, so I'm very proud of that. Yeah. So anyways, when I began this journey, it was because of my grandfather. Yeah. I was doing an education study and upon community philosophy of education. So as I began questioning the people, my grandfather says that I was doing very good at, teaching the children and so on. But what he requested that I should do a study, learn the traditional education system of our people. So I was the director at the school back then. And I took a sabbatical and I went to my grandmother. Why my grandmother is that she was raised by her great-great-grandmother who lived to be 128. And my grandmother was adopted when she was 2 by her great-grandmother. So anyways, for 14 years, until the day she died, is that they live off the land. They didn't live in a community. Yeah, they always live on the outskirts of the community, living off the land, because that's the way the great-great-grandmother lived. Yeah. So she hardly used any European material, such as pots and stuff like that. They just used the land. So anyways, this is where I began learning how to hunt, fish, how nature was dispersed. So as I was doing that, many legends were recounted to me, and I began to put them together. Yeah. I went on a 14-day fast to learn. In my quest, it was to learn what was the lifestyle prior to European setting. So one of the most important things that came up was the Turtle Island story, yeah, where it began to tell me things. Yeah. So anyways, in 1999, 2000, there was a logging issue, and my uncle had asked me to protect his territory. So I claimed myself as a member of the Turtle Island people, not really understanding what I was doing. Yeah. So I began to study geography. And when I looked at North America, I began to see what the elders were talking about when they recounted the story of the Turtle Island. This would be North America. There are 13 mountains in North America, and this is where I come from, on top of this mountain. That would be in Quebec. And then you would have the Pennsylvania, New York State mountain. And then you would have Virginia, and then Louisiana. And then you would have Northwest Territory, Ontario, Manitoba, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. And then you would have Saskatchewan, Wyoming, Utah, and Arizona. And Grandpa told a part of the story. He says that the turtle was tilted sideways a bit. And this would be the Rockies. So what we see as Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, Long Island, would be the tip of the mountains over here. Baffin Island would be the tip of that. Began to see the turtle here. And the tectonics would follow the marking of the turtle as well. So they had 6 rivers, which is part of the constitution of the Six Nation. The Six Nation meaning the animal nation, the bird nation, the fish nation, the plant nation, and the insect nation, plus the human. That would be the 6. Those are the creatures of North America. So in the 6 rivers, you would have, we got to get the blue so we could see the river system. So you would have the St. Lawrence, Mississippi, Colorado, Fraser, Mackenzie, and Churchill. So this would be the arteries, 2 from the neck, 2 from the armpits, and 2 from the back legs. Now what we call Cuba, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and all those islands are the knuckles sticking out of the water. And as my grandfather said, yeah, the turtle is tilted sideways a bit, so it's underneath the water. So this is what I began to see as I studied geography, geology, yeah, how everything is dispersed upon North America. And then when you look at Greenland, you could see the eyes sticking out of the water on one side, and there's a mountain on the other side. I thought I was going crazy at one point. Yeah. The mountain ranges in Mexico follows the center of the tail. Yeah. Where they say the meteor fell in the Gulf of Mexico is actually the floor of the ocean, where you see in 3-dimensionally the back leg and the tail and the actual floor of the ocean, which is the same depth on the other side of the turtle's tail. So anyways, this is one continent that we're talking about. In the other continent is that they say they create, the people kill their god and they cut off their head, which would be the time of Ulysses, where he blinds the giant, the Cyclops. That would be our third eye. Yeah. So I began to look at what the world looked like on the other side. Like they say, the native people pick up the head, and they were supposed to bring it back at one point. So they tied it to the turtle's tail. And this would be the head. This would be the Amazon River, Titicaca Lake that goes down to the side. And you got Chile, with the mountain ranges. And and on the other side you have Kilimanjaro, which would be the elbow. The shoulder would be the European Alps, the Russian Alps, and the Himalayas that starts from Indonesia all the way up to Japan. And you got Australia, New Zealand, Madagascar, Fiji Islands, Hawaii Islands, and the Canary Islands. And in this story is that we were supposed to bring it back. Native people were supposed to bring it back. The people of the land.
Bring back
the head. So what's happening is that it's sliding over upwards like that. It's like this parcel of land is floating. Just as the turtle is sliding over, it's bringing it back. So there's what we call the bath, is that it's like pushing sand and there's like a platform and then it drop off to the actual floor of the ocean. So you got that on one side, and this side is deep. Now there's two currents in the ocean, one going up north and the other one going down south, passing by Australia, coming to bounce off South America and back up to hit Asia. And this would be the arteries. And you see the tempo every time there's an hurricane. And the tempo seems to get faster in the last few years, which means it's emptying out. The artery, it's like when you cut off the neck and you got two arteries, and they're pumping blood. And this is what creates the pressure in the ocean. It creates a disturbance in the ocean, which creates a disturbance in the air, which creates the tornado, the hurricane. So one of them goes up and the other one goes down and goes around the world before hitting Asia. As I studied oceanography, the lake is like this. And once you put the head back here, you see this creature. Why the two creatures? They're the two, that's what we call the two grandfathers. They're the longest living creatures that walks on the earth. And they have the memory of the evolution of the earth itself, where they recount the birth of our planet. So as I began to see all of this, it changed my vision. It reinforced my belief upon Mother Earth. Why do we call it Mother Earth? Because this is the female entity. That's the grandmother, the turtle. And the male is that it has, this is a musk gland of the elephant. When it mates, it starts to run. This musk gland starts to run. That's the male entity. And it has lost its vision upon where it's gone. And this is what's happening upon the earth right now. Yeah. So when we go back to this turtle, the mineral that we're taking off from the land is part of the communication system of our being. The central nervous system communicates with these minerals, which is the microwave, electricity, yeah. All the communication system that we use, vibration. But since there's no more minerals, there's no more contacts, this is when you become a diabetic, because there's no more pulse on the land. Receptors, we have taken them out. We're using them for cars, for buildings, for whatever we use as metal, different type of metals that we use. So the nerve system is not communicating anymore. We're blocking every single river system, which is like blocking the veins. We're getting what you call it, cholesterol. Yeah. Those are the dams. Yeah. Where we're pumping the oil, which is the hard section of this one, and the hard section of the elephant as well. Biologically speaking, we don't see what we are doing because we have been blinded. Atlantis speaks about these two creatures. Atlantis speaks about space age. They have foreseen it. They have foreseen everything that was going to happen. And in our legend, it says that we were going to be hurt at one point. Yeah. Where hardship will come. Even the Bible spoke about it. Where water was going to be considered as gold. And today we see the water receding. The St. Lawrence has gone down 2 to 6 feet. 6 feet now in the St. Lawrence alone. And the rest of the world is 2 to 6 feet. The AquaTurf, what they call the AquaTurf in Arizona, they have only about 25 years left. Because every time we make a dam, it's like taking liquid out of the body and putting it on a reservoir. So there's no more water upon the land. So how do we fix these things? How? Is that we got to start understanding where this creation is, how it's made. Natural process. Yeah. And we're supposed to work with the natural process, not against it. And this is what I'm sharing to the people. Yeah. To understand that we are part of the natural works. Yeah. My grandmother said I should eat this. So I did. I skinned it. The legs of the turtle are red meat like beef. The back strap are like pork. The chest is like bird flesh. The stomach is like insect flesh. I forgot the name of that thing again. The placenta. It's not really flesh. It's more liquid than flesh. Yeah. But it has consistency, which is the same type of flesh that the insect has. And the neck is like fish flesh, white meat. Exactly like a fish. Yeah. So, when we look at it as living cells, we start to see all the creatures that the Creator has created. The animals, the birds, the insects, the fish. Yeah. They're all there. You see the genetic of the land through the creatures. And when you see the number of creatures upon the land, upon the rivers, yeah, the rivers are like our vein. The living cells that are swimming within it is what we see in the river system. By seeing the number of all the creatures, we see the state of the earth itself. So every time we buy a car, we're taking a piece of it. Every time we gas up our car, we know where it's coming from. Because it's the blood of Mother Earth. And we don't see it. We're all blind. As Jesus said, yeah, we do not know what we are doing. Because we have been blinded by the system that governs. The education system does not teach this as such. A world vision, global vision. The star system are part of that, yeah, which is part of the cosmology. Yeah, how everything is connected. Yeah. So I carry around. They may think this is just a bunch of bones. But those are the creatures that help me understand. We're not the only creatures, but there's others. This is what the native nation of the Turtle Island are talking about. Relationship. That doesn't matter which form you have a right to exist, to partake in a stream of life. Yeah. I would like my children to see that too. That's what I began to believe. Yeah. This is what I carry in my heart now. Not only in my heart, in my mind. Yeah. Where I live. Yeah. I have learned to survive through the skills what my grandmother taught me, to live off the land. I don't need no more tools from the city. But I could also turn around and just go in the city and just disappear in front of an office, yeah, in front of a computer, and live in that fashion. Yeah. So with Kukumville Academy, what I have been working on for the last 20 years is to combine culture, yeah, into academic setting and vice versa. So both worlds could benefit from the teaching that I was asked to share. So I'm going to be going down to Alberta this summer, this spring sometimes. And I will share the same story. I've been walking on this path for over 20 years. I confront industries, because what I'm teaching disrupt industrialization. I disrupt government systems. I even disrupt the belief of the catechism. We were called pagans because we didn't follow the same belief. I have been called a dissident because I don't see the same vision as they do. But yet I'm standing here, yeah, continuing sharing what I was told to share. Because this is not for me. It's for the next 7 generations, as they say in the story. So the turtle will begin to turn. It'll begin to move. This is all the changes that is happening. So us as human, we got to start understanding what we are doing, upon what world we are living in, how we are affecting it, and how we could cure it. I believe what the Bible says, with the 10 Commandments. When Native people say respect, it expresses the same 10 Commandments. Would you say respect? Roland. So understanding that the land is made up of such a chief, administrators, governments have a better perception in order to administer these things more in a balanced way. Yeah. To understand what their children will need. Yeah. What we call the children is the society. Yeah. The chief, prime minister is the father figure. The queen is the mother figure. Yeah. So if they understood the natural process of the earth, the global vision and such, they have a better understanding of what the people need. Yeah. Shelter, clothing, medicine, food. Yeah. And the resources available yeah, upon the land. Yeah. This is what the chief has got to understand. Yeah. He's got to understand what his people will need, yeah, to find somewhat of harmony, some peace in their life. And our people, the way they explain that is through the bear's teaching. Yeah. A deer doesn't learn to defend himself. He just learns how to run. Yeah. A wolf will understand the carnivores. Those are the industries. Yeah. And they just eat. They don't need what his people need if the wolf was to be achieved. Yeah. So the teaching of the bear is that he eats every single creature, the insect world, the bird, the fish, the plants, the animal. Yeah. So that's like a chief that knows all his people, their weakness, their strength, and what have you, and what did they need to exist. That's the society that he's speaking of. Yeah. And this is what the bear teaches. Yeah. He understands the universe of where he exists and how his society coexists. And that's how we represent our chief. He is the bear. Yeah. So if you're just a wolf, you won't understand the plant world. You won't understand the insect world. So you might oversee what the needs of your society, yeah, which is composed of every single creature. And as a bear eats, he collects all these bioproperties, yeah, which balances his being. Yeah. And this is what we need to do, what we need to teach our children, to feed them, yeah, what's in the forest, to reconstruct their DNA. We have been eating so much at the McDonald flower pot that their DNA has been changing, which create all the diseases. Yeah. Because the property that they're eating doesn't conform to their being. So let's say I don't want to eat pike anymore because it's too bony. Or I don't want to eat a muskrat because it looks too much like a rat. Yeah. But what you're doing is you're throwing away the vitamin that your body needs. Yeah. So we must bring this back, the natural properties, not to produce properties. You see, like in a garden, when you first garden, your tomatoes are going to be about so big. The next year, it'll be smaller. And the year after, even smaller. Because it works like a sponge. It just takes up the property that it needs for it to grow. And there's no more on the land. And it doesn't put anything back up on the land. Yeah. So it becomes like a sponge. It just seeks it. Yeah. So what we usually do is that we're going to put manure in there. What happens to the manure is that we're creating an infection so the properties could come from further down. Yeah. And we do that over the years, and the land gets tired. Yeah. That's when you start seeing raspberries around the fields, because it's trying to put back some properties. Yeah.
Raspberries?
Yeah. This is the glucose. Yeah. That's trying to repair the land. When you just burn it or you just clear cut it, blueberries are coming up. It's like having a scar on your skin. Yeah. The first thing that's going to come up is crystal, which is base of sugar. The scab is 80% sugar. Yeah. This is the properties that are trying to rebalance the pH. Yeah. Each tree, the big white pine goes further down. He brings up the property for the next one to bring it up. And they work in sequence until the one on top, the grass and the small plant, gets the properties too, just as much as the big plant. Yeah. This is how it functions. But when you clear land, there's nothing that goes and gets it. So we put manure there, yeah, creating the infection so that sugar will come up in trying to heal the land. So it's relearning how to eat these things that are natural properties of the land, natural process. Yeah. And it's not genetically built up. Yeah. To the understanding of the medicines that I've studied is that they take a plant and they take only the properties that they need, forgetting the counterbalance properties of this product. So when you eat it, eat just this one property from this one flower, doesn't have its guardians to balance it, which creates side effects. It just keeps on working. Yeah. So it's to take the whole plant and use that, not to break it up. So we got to start learning how to use these properties in its natural form. Yeah. Even just drinking water out on the land. Yeah. That's a form of inoculation, vaccination. What you integrate a little bit of disease into your system. Yeah. That's what vaccination is all about. Is to inject a disease, a virus, into your system, so your system could start counter fighting that disease. Yeah. And this is what we got to start teaching our children. Yeah. Start making them drink a little bit, so their body could have the antibiotics within their system, fighting these natural things. Yeah. Many teachings will come out of it. Yeah. How to reconstruct your DNA, natural DNA, not conformed DNA. When somebody is sick today, is that there is a part of his genetics that's missing. So they go and get it from different plants or animal or what have you. Yeah. And they say, this is the patch you need. Because from what science is seeing is that there is a specific mold how human biology should be. So they go and get that property that they need, and they say, this is what you need. But they're forgetting to put the counterbalance. Yeah. And this is why we start using the medicines. Yeah. Yeah. Like the dandelion. Yeah. Doesn't seem like one. But you could eat the flowers. I usually make a little batter. Yeah. It's a little sweet. Yeah, when you eat it. Yeah, so the children likes it. You could make the salad, natural. Yeah, natural ingredients, not confined to, okay, this is the property that you need to, So you intake this, and your body begins to intake the natural product. Yeah. You take the roots, cut it up, put it in the oven, and you make natural coffee out of it. You just darken the root. Yeah. Plus it has medicine on it. Yeah. From the earth. Yeah. And these are the things that we got to teach our children. I bring you a partridge. Yeah. It's not just a partridge that I'm bringing you. It's the medicine that he has picked up out in the woods, which has become him. And now we're intaking the medicine that we need. Yeah. So that's why they say when a native goes hunting, you accept what Creator puts on your path because you need it in your body. Yeah. And those are some of the teachings that we got to pass on to our children. What our children should be learning in school. Yeah. Yeah. Beginning to understand, like it's not the system, the education system that's wrong. Yeah. I see many benefit from the education system. Yeah. How study should be conformed, to arrive at being a doctor. So we learn biology, all the equation that's necessary. Yeah. But now we just turn it a little bit. Yeah. From the natural properties. How does the natural properties could rectify such situation? Yeah. Social setting. Yeah. How do we, from living in the woods, how do we create a society? Yeah, with regulation. Yeah, laws. Yeah. We could still base it upon the system. Yeah. It's a big spider web. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, those are some of the things that we need to do, you know, for the future. Yeah. What the future generation has to learn, you know, to find its balance. Yeah. Taking little steps here and there, yeah, to rebuild the natural process. Yeah. Not genetically engineering it. Yeah. Not to assume, creating theories that this thing might work. Yeah. The medicines that are being used are not really tested. Yeah. Sometimes it affects the following generation, such as birth control. Yeah. What is birth control does? Yeah. It makes the body think that it's pregnant. Yeah. So what happens to the woman? Yeah. The body thinks that it's pregnant. So it's beginning to collect, what you call it? Could call it fat, yeah, but nutrient, yeah, for the baby to grow. But there's no baby, yeah, so there's nothing eating it. Yeah. So obesity is multiplying, yeah, through the generation. It's just a simple thing, yeah. There is a natural thing that they use out in the woods. Where they call it poison. I forgot what they call that plant in English. I know it in Algonquin, kagagyojik. According to science, is that it's poisonous. Yeah. But the woman used to drink certain quantity, which kills the egg. Yeah. Revoke the egg, so the woman doesn't get pregnant. But it doesn't affect the system. Yeah. Those are some of the biological studies that could be done. Yeah. That needs to be taken to be observed. Yeah. Native people have been using it for thousands of years. Yeah. Birth control just started in the 1960s. Now, 50 years later, we see the side effects of it. Some women can't even have children, yeah, because of the side effect. Yeah. Biological side effect. Yeah. Because the theory, it was theorized, which means assuming that this is the way it's supposed to work. Yeah. But we gotta study what is factual now. Yeah. That's the future studies that needs to be done. Yeah. The children's gotta learn these things. Yeah. So institutions gotta somewhat open up the doors, yeah, for this process, the natural process, not theorized process, but the factual process. Yeah. And we gotta adapt to it, yeah, step by step, yeah. And then nothing's going to come up, yeah, nothing's going to change next day. Yeah, it's going to take a few days, a few decades. Yeah. In order for this to rectify, they say, according to the prophecies, it's going to take 7 generations. It took 7 generations to bring us to the state where we are today. Yeah. And it's going to take 7 generations to go back to reconstruct the DNA. Yeah. And this is living with nature. Yeah. And we got to start understanding that nature is part of the creation, and this is what we're built on. As the same properties that are on the land, we are built the same way. The same biological components. We are built in the same with the same components, the same minerals, same protein, but in a different formula, which create different entities, species of living forms. Now we got to understand how they work, how they could contribute to our physical being. This is the research that needs to be done. Try to make it work. So, for me, I have done this research for the past, since 1984. Learning the science of our people. Everything that I've spoken about is that they learned it through observation, which is the basics of science. Observation. And that's what our people did too. But they call it traditional knowledge. But it is science. How did they get the sugar, maple sugar? It's through science, observation. So what's the difference between science and natural? Traditional knowledge? They're the same thing. They've worked the same way. They have observed. Just as the mind explains astrology, how the space works. It was observation. They accumulated knowledge. Through their language, they express what they have acknowledged throughout time. So when one learns what they call the traditional language of the native people, what they will find is the philosophy of how the society has evolved. What does that society have acknowledged? That's why those words were created. So, in the perception of the native people, if they understood their own language, they would see how their society has evolved, with what and how they felt about it, because the language expresses it. That's the importance of the language itself. How they perceive each creature is recounted in legends. and they express, what they have understood from them. And they will understand the philosophy. Yeah. So, like what I do back home, is I take my children up on the land and I teach them what I see, what I find in each plant, and how do I benefit from them. I don't have no electricity out in the woods, so it's easier for me to take them out on the land. Yeah. So they could start observing what's laid out. Yeah. Instead of looking at a computer and games. Yeah. Got to bring them out to the natural world. Start to make them participate with what the Creator has given. Yeah. In a way, if you wanted to see paradise, the Garden of Eden, all you have to do is just erase everything that the human created and you'll see the creation itself and how it was laid out. And these are the things that we got to teach our children. And that's the responsibility of the chief and council, ministers and prime ministers, queen and popes. Yeah. They have that responsibility to show what the Creator has given us and how to administer those things. Not just to grab the riches, the sweet stuff, but to share. Just like the Jesus miracle, when he multiplied the fish. The fish to me in the story is that it's everything that is natural. There is enough for everybody. And the bread that he multiplied. At that time, the wheat was considered as gold. If you had some, you were rich to have bread on your table. But life has all the riches. And there's enough for everybody, and there's some left over if we're careful with it. That's the beauty of it. So I say thank you to all the grandfathers that have taught me their wisdom, the grandmothers, for what they have shown me, what they cared for. All these things had disappeared in my life when I went to boarding school. I had to struggle to learn those things again. Because everything was a race, even my own language. I couldn't speak it. I didn't know how to hunt. I couldn't find nothing out on the land. So I'm very grateful for my grandmother. Very grateful for my mom, for what she had fed me. People thought we were poor. And I didn't even know how rich I was. So I say thank you to my mom too. Those are the things that I like to share to the children, to start looking at, to start studying these things, to go to school for these things so they could promote their well-being. I might be diabetic, but what I have learned through it is the teachings. And the teachings is what I'm passing on, not my disease. So anyways, this is what I was taught to share. It's not for me to make money out of, but it's to make people realize where we are living in the natural world. Because we cannot live without them. They could live without us. So we must learn to respect them and understand them, because they have teaching for each one of those. Without the creatures, we don't exist. Without us, life will continue. So it's our choice to be extinguished ourselves or not. My baby made me a bundle. I would like to see what the ancestors have seen, which I have partly seen. But this is my prayer, my baby's prayer, for it to see life too. To understand how precious life is. And that life should continue. This is my baby's prayer. She's 5 years old. She was 5 years old when she made this bundle. She's 6 now. And I hope there is a place for her to walk on and to hear the music of what the Creator has created and to understand it. So I teach her to respect it. Genetically speaking, we were born from the natural resources. It's like a flower in a flower pot. Now we're eating from McDonald's flower pot, which is creating a change in our biological system, which creates diabetes. I want my baby to have an healthy life. That's what I wish for. And that's what I understand from her prayers. I was given this teaching to share. So all the children of the world could benefit from it. Not for me. That's the understanding I got from what I'm teaching now. So I'm doing my best. The onus of the Indian people to prove that they had a system. This is a Genesis. It starts off with a little story called the Turtle Island. Thank you.
Guanalia guanodanahi. Guanalia guanode. Guanalia guanode. Guanalia guanoda. Hey ya hey no. Daho.